Professor Daniel McFadden, a Nobel Prize in 2000, the economy is made of choices. The choices of the consumer that every day make a choice and choose to buy something or something else. Not always these choices are right. Sometimes the consumer make mistakes. And so what can a consumer do to avoid mistakes?
One thing that consumers can do is recognize their own tendency to make flawed decisions. For example, in trading, people are interested not only in the outcome of trades, but they are also quite influenced by the process of trading itself. And aggressive salesmanship, discounts on introduction to products, and things like this are used by sellers to induce people to buy things that, absent the trading, the excitement and the adrenaline of trading, they wouldn't end up doing. So one thing that consumers need to be aware of is to separate the final outcome they will get from a trade from being too involved in the pleasures and pains of trading itself. That's one example.
We live in the era of social network, of influencer, of big data, and do you think that these are too powerful weapons in the hands of the sellers? And do you think that the regulation should protect more the consumer or not?
The ability of sellers now to collect data and reconstruct our purchase histories and predict from that what we're willing to pay for objects is potentially quite disruptive to orderly operation of markets and could harm consumers. The harm is not universal. Big data allows firms to specialize things which would be advantageous to us, but when they use these data to limit the products that we see or reprice them to what they think we are willing to pay, that works substantially to the disadvantage of consumers. What do we need to do? I think we need to recognize that big data can be used adversely to consumers as well as for the benefit of consumers, and we need nuanced, careful regulation to avoid its being used in adverse ways.
Okay. Today, the same tools that sellers use to convince and to convince the consumer are used by politicians to convince the people to vote for them. And sometimes these tools are very aggressive, are very powerful. Do you think that they are a harm for the democracy? Do you think that they could change the course of democracy? And do you think that they should be regulated too?
It's very difficult to see how you can regulate political activity without censoring it in inappropriate ways. But there's no question that what is happening in terms of how data is used by political organizations and how consumers absorb political data through the silos of information that reinforce their preferences or predilections. Those are things which I think are destructive to democracy. Consumers need to be aware that they should listen to opposing views and engage with people who don't think like they do and try to find the common ground. I don't know how you translate that into effective regulation. That's a challenge for the age, maybe for the younger.